So you've built your accounting firm from the ground up, right? You know every client, every deadline, and probably every single number by heart. That incredible hands-on approach is exactly what got you here. But what if it's the very thing holding you back now? It's a classic founder's trap, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
Seriously, just think about this for a second. That same drive, that need to have your hands on absolutely everything that made you so successful, could it now be, quietly, the biggest blocker to your firm's growth? It's a paradox that pretty much every successful firm owner has to face eventually.
Because, let's be honest, eventually you just hit a wall. You're stuck in the weeds, your team is completely overloaded, and that awesome feeling of success starts to feel a whole lot more like stress. If any of that sounds familiar, trust me, you are not alone. So, how do you break this cycle before it breaks you? This leads us right into what we can call the owner's dilemma. It's that critical moment, that fork in the road, where you have to make a choice. Do you hang on to total control over every little detail, or do you enable real, sustainable growth for your firm?
You know, so many owners fight delegation because they're terrified of losing control. They think, if I don't do it myself, it just won't be done right. But here's the crazy part, the real irony. Holding on that tightly actually creates more risk for your firm, not less. Let me show you exactly what I mean.
Okay, so when every single decision has to run through you, what happens? Boom, a bottleneck right at the top. Then your staff gets frustrated. Your best people, the most ambitious ones, start looking for the door because they can't grow. And then, inevitably, client service starts to slip. Emails take longer to get answered, deadlines feel tighter. And before you know it, burnout creeps in for everyone, including you. It's a total recipe for stagnation. All right, so the solution here isn't just, randomly throwing tasks at people and hoping for the best. It's a really smart two-part strategy. It starts with getting your own house in order first, so you can then intelligently delegate outside of it. It's all about making sure the right people are doing the right work. Now, this slide is so important because it brings so much clarity. On the left, you've got the controller. Think of this person as your 30,000-foot views strategist, focused on the big picture, on risk, and the overall financial health of the firm. And then on the right, you have your accounting manager. They're the one on the ground, making sure the engine is actually running day to day, managing the team and the client work. Getting this right isn't just an operational win, it's a financial one. It ensures your highest paid people are focused on high-value work, not getting bogged down in daily management. And here's the magic. Once you get that internal structure locked in, the path forward just becomes crystal clear. You'll know exactly which tasks are core to your firm's strategy, the things you have to keep in-house, and which repeatable tasks can be safely and efficiently handed off. So, what does that look like? Well, think about all the stuff that's essential, but let's be real, it doesn't need your direct strategic oversight every single time. Monthly bookkeeping, tax prep, payroll, you get the idea. These are the perfect tasks to delegate. When you lift this work off your core team's plate, you suddenly create this incredible, scalable capacity, letting your firm handle way more volume without burning everyone out. But I can already hear the big question, right? The big fear. If I outsource, am I going to lose control of my client relationships? Is it going to hurt my brand? And that is a totally valid concern. It's also where a specific model called the white label advantage completely changes the game. Okay, so white label outsourcing. It's a super clever model. The best analogy is a store brand at the supermarket. The product is made by an expert, but it's got the store's name on it. It's the same idea here. An expert accounting team does the work behind the scenes, but every single thing is delivered to your client under your firm's brand. The bottom line? You get all the horsepower without giving up the driver's seat. And this is benefit number one, and it is huge. As far as your client is concerned, absolutely nothing has changed. The reports, the financials, all the communication, it all comes directly from your firm. You maintain that branch trust you've worked so hard to build. And just as important, maybe even more important, you or your in-house manager remain the primary point of contact. The outsourced team is basically an extension of your team working for you, but that critical client relationship stays firmly in your hands. There is literally zero risk of losing that connection. So when you put it all together, what this model really gives you is the absolute best of both worlds. You get the scalability and the efficiency of a whole external team without sacrificing a single ounce of your brand integrity or your client control. Okay, now if you want to put this whole strategy on steroids, a lot of firms are now partnering with US-based providers that have trained offshore teams in places like India, and there's a good reason for that. There's a massive pool of talented, English-speaking accountants there, and this unlocks a whole other level of powerful advantages.
Let's just start with a number that makes everyone's jaw drop. We're talking about potential cost savings of 40 to 60% compared to hiring for those same roles in-house. Just let that sink in for a second. That is a game-changing impact on your firm's profitability.
But listen, it is not just about the money. The time zone advantage is incredible. Work is literally getting done while you and your team are asleep, ready for you in the morning. You can scale up and add capacity almost instantly without the months-long headache of recruiting. And a great partner will make sure all the work is perfectly aligned with your firm's standards. Okay, I know this all sounds great in theory, but the idea of actually starting can feel, well, pretty overwhelming. So how do you begin this process without creating a whole new mountain of stress for yourself? Let's walk through a simple, actionable plan. Let's break it down into a simple 5-step framework. First, audit your own task list and figure out what only you can do. Second, formally assign those controller and manager roles internally. Third, and this one is so important, start small externally. Don't try to boil the ocean. Just pick one trusted client's monthly bookkeeping and test out the process. Fourth, build simple checklists to make sure the quality's there. And finally, make sure you choose a white label partner to protect your brand.
And this really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. Delegation isn't about giving up control. It's about clearing all the junk off your plate so you can finally regain the clarity you need to actually lead your firm, not just run it. When you talk to firms that had actually nailed this, the number one thing they talk about again and again is time. It's the time to get back to the work you probably love, the work that actually grows the business. It's time to focus on strategy, on business development, and on nurturing those amazing client relationships that only you can manage.
So I want to leave you with one final question to really think about. Look at your role in the firm today. Are you building a really high-stress job for yourself, one where you have to do everything? Or are you building a true business, an asset that can grow and thrive even beyond your own daily efforts? The choice, ultimately, is yours.